Welcome back to Switch to Linux. It is Wednesday, and we just wanted to do some geeky, techie, talky stuffy. And so that's kind of what we're going to do today. So what I want to talk about today is what is it that makes a good Linux distro? And the reason I wanted to talk about that is, I always bounce around this distro behind me, always bounce around, and it's elementary, and it's probably not going to last very long. I'm just going to do some videos about it. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Obviously, yesterday's video, there's a lot about what I don't like about it. But that was really information about why is this not a good distro for a new user. I still want to plumb the depths of other really bad things about it. And there's some decent things about it as well. And what I want to actually do is get into this and just ask, what is it that makes a good Linux distro? And we might even go ahead and look at some comments from that video as well. Overall, though, I was actually quite surprised. Usually the elementary folks come out of the woodwork and start downvoting videos. I only got 13 thumbs down on that one, which for a video being fairly critical of elementary OS is actually fairly low. And so that was an interesting thing. Of course, there was 99 likes on that, 110 comments, and 1,034 views. So, popular video, I know that. And there's some fascinating comments. And, what I'm seeing is that the love for elementary OS is starting to decline a little bit. And I think a lot of the reason is that a lot of the buzz has gone away because a lot of people wanted to try it and just couldn't get the thing working as well. And it's not that it's a bad distro, it's that there's a lot of problems and challenges with it, and we don't overcome those by simply announcing enough, okay? This is a trait of advertising and marketing. I think it's a popular distro because influential people are behind it. I don't know. I don't get into the ins and outs of who makes distros. I came to Linux because I needed to get my work done, and Windows was no longer an option, and I was not about to work on Mac. That's why I came to Linux. And we have to keep that type of stuff in mind, that I'm not a guy who switched to Linux to be a geeky guy working on the basement tinkering with stuff. I would love to be able to do that, but I got to pay my bills, and I have other things that I want to do as well. So, that really, for me, is why I came over to the Linux community, and that's why I focus on helping people switch over into the Linux community where at all possible. So that's kind of what my motivations are behind this. And I've known a lot of people that have said, I've really wanted to get elementary to work, but just couldn't for whatever reason. So we're going to dive into that type of stuff. Let's go ahead and start in on the comment stream, though. So first was Linux user. Before we get going too long, I have another cup of coffee here to make. It's a 2-cupper. Actually, I've only had 1 cup of coffee today, and I usually do have 2, and I plan on working until about 3 or 4 in the morning, so we're going to go ahead and start in with some coffee, and I'm serving up Irish cream coffee today is what I got. So, get me another cup of joe. Usually it's tea this time of the day, but I got to be up early tomorrow. All right. Set that somewhere safe so it doesn't fall over and crash and burn. All right, so Linux user, greetings. Are you still here, Linux user? Ryan McConkey, how's it going there? Pseudo Linux, greetings, Isaiah Briggs. Hello there. I will not be talking about the Intel CPU kernel bug, but I am going shopping with a friend of mine for computers tomorrow, so you better believe that we're not going to be steering them towards Intel. We're going to be looking at the AMDs tomorrow. I just feel better, especially it's very funny to, if you watched Brian Linduke's show today on the Linux News, then involved compiled now in the kernel checks if you're not using an AMD, it says potential security vulnerability. It is now published in the Linux kernel code. We'll probably talk about some of that to some degree, varying degree on Friday with the news, but I might just let the people who are more knowledgeable about it keep talking about that. Let's see. Is it for newer kernel version? As far as the CPU issue, though, to my knowledge, the CPU issue is actually the more recent ones. I know that my two primary computers that get used a lot that have Intel Core i5 processors are not affected, mostly because they're just too old. My newer laptop, that's a 5th generation. That might be affected. I just don't remember. And I should probably look that up sometime soon. Yeah, it's the newer ones. You know, they're like trying to do all this other fancy stuff. And it's just like, it brings me back to this very same thing. It's like with cars. If you computerize and complexify a car, all you do is shorten the lifespan of the car. Okay? Leave it be. We don't need all this little gizmos and gadgets in the background. Just develop a processor that becomes a processor. All right, and of course the conspiracy theories are around that. You know, is that the backdoor for the NSA, etc., etc.? Probably. I don't know. All right. Yeah, go ahead and look into that, though. I may or may not cover some more of that on the news on Friday or not. Greetings, Techno Bismo. Pizza Lovin' Nerd is grounded. Pizza Lovin' Nerd, bad. Shame on you. And I hope you learned something. All right. So greetings, Pizza Loving Nerd. Even though you're not here, I'm assuming you'll probably catch the video later, though. So see ya. All right. And yes, Isaiah is correct. Pizza Loving Nerd, you just created incriminating evidence. This is on the live stream. So your parents can now look at the stream and say, okay, he's gone. To my knowledge, Pizza Loving Nerd is gone. I just don't know. If you're still here, I wouldn't comment any further. It'll show up on my screen, and you will incriminate yourself. So be careful. Be careful. I'm about accountability. Come on. Okay. Pseudo unground me. I'm not sure that's going to work, but I don't know. Depends on the parents, I guess. If the parents are operate on the Linux kernel, then that might actually be a functional thing. It might be SU unground me. Who knows? Depending on the distro you're running. I'm gonna make a background process and stay running. There you go. All right. Albert Crow, greetings. Linux user, there you are. You are back. As long as I have a good amount of packages to stay up to date, it's stable and a good distro. Well, that's one of those factors that comes into it. So we'll jump into this a little bit more. All right. Sudo Linux has a new computer. Let's see. Pentium D with Ubuntu Mate Linux Core i3 with Windows 10. Windows 10. Ew. No. There is an interesting piece of Windows news this week. Stay tuned for that on Friday. I don't want to talk about it yet because I've not verified it, but I want to look into it a little bit further. Let's see. This desktop has been a blast so far. I am glad you're liking it. Yeah, it's fun getting a good desktop, especially if you can get multiple hard drives in there and just have all sorts of geeky Linuxy stuff all over. I had tragedy this week. From probably about the height of only about 18 inches, I dropped my backup hard drive that runs Ubuntu Mate, and it seems to be dead. I'm doing a few other diagnostics to see if I can recover it. Shame, shame, shame. It died. And why did it get dropped? Well, because I have an icy dock and I hot swapped my hard drives. So, but you know what? I have a good backup strategy. You know how much data I lost? I think I did lose one thing. I lost the old Kali NetHunter backup of my Nexus 5X phone, but I don't really care. That is an acceptable loss. Nothing else, to my knowledge. I don't think I lost anything else. Everything else is either on my NAS or on extra USB drives or things like that. So, awesome. But yeah, awesome new computer. Sweet. So using the same computer for over 4 years. Yeah, my Windows 7 computer I still do most of my work on, that's behind me, is I bought that in 2010, and it's actually still works today as good as it was the day I pulled it out of the box. In fact, it works better than the day I pulled it out of the box because it came with like Norton on it, and Norton is a processor hog. And I upgraded the RAM to like from 4 gigs to 8 gigs. No, by 2020 they will be cutting updates to Windows 7. Yes, we need to be ready for that in the Linux community. I have a few other custom, let's see, Manjaro icons. Carbon Programmer is currently on Debian. Awesome. Okay, yeah, it does appear that Manjaro Forum is down. It looks to me like it's a DNS issue is what it looks like to me, because it just immediately said, nope, not there. Who is here using Debian or Debian-based distro? I'm on Linux Mint, so that is technically by a few generations down Debian-based. I got Elementary behind me, which is also Ubuntu-based. So those are Debian-based-ish. Let's see. Carbon Programmer last used Ubuntu with Unity. Well, that was only a few months ago when they killed it, so, you know. Using KDE, Techno-Bismo helped clean the desktop and upgrade the RAM to 8. So much better than 1. Yes, 8 is much better than 1. I got Eat Your Heart Out, though, Pseudo Linux. This computer I stream on is 32 gigs of HyperX RAM. Yeah. My first computer had a rip-roaring 32 megabytes of RAM, and that was so awesomely fast, it was unbelievable. Currently have 16 RAM in my system. My laptop can be upgraded up to 16. It's sitting on 8, but whatever. Good enough. In fact, if I do follow the plan to install cubes on it on a separate partition on the hard drive on my laptop, I will upgrade the RAM to 8 to 16 because more RAM is better when you're running cubes. Why does my BIOS recognize 8 gigs of RAM but Unity Mate only uses 4? Don't know. I'd have to look into that. All right, well, let's go ahead and leave track where I am. I think I saw a few other people on there. William Nellis, greetings. Halo Kid, hello. KO2610, greetings. Anna Rita, hello. Bjorn, hello. Spider Eyes, greetings. Spotty Sylvia, hello. And Mike Washburn, greetings. Spotty Sylvia, greetings. Manish Kumar, greetings. And Fat Elvis, greetings. That's everybody I see on a quick cursor, but we could keep reading the comments all day long. We're actually going to dive into the questions. And so what we're going to do, again, if you came on a little bit late, is we're going to ask these questions. What makes a good Linux distro? And what caused me to think about this most is some of the comments that I have seen on my elementary video, and if I can find those particular comments, I'll find those. But some of the people said that there's a lot of stink about elementary, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a great distro." And I haven't really seen, and in all honesty, I haven't really looked, but I haven't really seen a lot of people telling me why is elementary a good distro. But as I do mine, and I'm honest about it, and a few people have said, I appreciate your honesty in the matter, as I have looked at the various distros, and, you know, when I do my reviews, I will try and tell you what is good and what is not good in them. And Kitty wants to come up and say hello. Greetings, people. Hello. All right, Kitty, want to take your spot on the desk? All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Take your spot on the desk. All right. All right. So, what they kind of said, you know, why are so many people saying this is such a great distro? Because out of the box, I've tried this on 3 different systems, and it's buggy as all get out. Now, you can get rid of most of the bugginess by going into the terminal and loading an update, but you can't really update it from the App Center, which is where it wants you to. And it's for a system that's supposed to be a user-friendly distro. That's kind of crazy that the App Center that is supposed to be the thing to upgrade it actually crashes repeatedly and doesn't work. Now, the thing is that a lot of people, like, I think Brian Lunduke loves elementary, and he is finally using it. I did say in one of the comments that he's not using it. He is actually using it on one of his computers now. He just installed it, like, last week. And he says how great it is, but knowing Lunduke and what I know about him, he installed the thing, and then the first thing he did is he booted up a terminal and did his sudo apt upgrade, you know, and got everything working. And that meant that all of the things a new user would experience on elementary, he has just bypassed. Okay, but a lot of people have told me in the comments, thanks for your honesty, and I've had the same experience. I couldn't get it installed. I kept having it crash. Some people were talking about wireless issues. I have not had wireless issues on mine. A lot of that is because where I think you're going to get the wireless issues is, if I remember correctly, this is using the code base of Ubuntu that does not yet have the Broadcom drivers installed. Those are now installed, so if you have something based on a later Ubuntu, you will probably not have as many issues with the Wi-Fi, but most computers have those Broadcom wireless adapters, and Ubuntu does not have the drivers for them. Now, if you're on something like Linux Mint or many of your other Ubuntu flavors, you can go right on into the settings, go into your drivers manager, and you can actually install those right in the GUI. I'm looking for something here. And this was actually interesting because my my laptop, which is sitting over there by the kitty cam, I had a problem with the wireless card, which I can't show you the wireless card. I think I tossed that in my computer recycling bin pile. That's not a wireless card. I had a problem with the wireless card because I had to swap some components around. Where is the wireless card? That's not it. I should have another wireless card down here. It's in here somewhere. Oh, duh. I put it inside the back. What happened is the wireless card in there, which is an Intel-based wireless card, you know, it's you know, pretty top-of-the-line card. Well, some of the antenna clips had broken off. So here on this card here, if I can get focus, sir, focus. Hocus pocus. What about focus? All right, never mind. I don't think it's going to want to focus. Okay, but you can see up here are the antenna clips. I apologize, it won't focus. The two antenna clips, one of them actually broke off. And so, of course, that renders the wireless card useless. And in that particular computer, guess what? There's no Ethernet port. Lower-end modern computer. So, you know, no Ethernet port. Well, I happen to have this card laying around, which this is a Broadcom card. It came from an old computer I had, a lower-end computer that I had a while back. Computer died, so I scrapped all the parts off, and this was just laying in my parts bin. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and slip this in the computer, and I since replaced it with, I didn't actually go back to factory, I went back to greater than factory. I end up getting the best wireless card that is compatible with that computer, and of course my internet can't support it in my office. Oh well, we'll work on that later. It's a different problem for a different day. But then I took this card out, so I just dropped this card in my Linux Mint computer, which is a Broadcom card, and it's like, yeah. Can't load internet. That's a Broadcom card. So what do? Well, I simply went in there and I grabbed out of my my bin here. I grabbed my USB wireless card, pop that right into there, go into the system settings in Linux Mint, hit drivers. It says, hey, there's a Broadcom chip. Would you like to use the driver? I'm like, yep, go ahead and do that. It downloads the driver, installs it. I log out of the system, pull out the USB wireless card, and now the Broadcom system works great. That's awesome for Linux Mint and several other Ubuntu distros. But do you think that Elementary has such a feature? Nope. And they have removed the ability to install a lot of packages that a lot of people would be looking for. And so getting a Broadcom wireless system to work on Elementary OS, I can foresee, would be a royal pain in the petunias. And that's a challenge. And so that in and of itself is one of those things we need to look at. How easy is it to get a Linux distro to work? Because if we're talking about saying, hey, try out Linux, and then, you know, looking at Linux, you know, see what works. And I bet you can use most of your things on there, et cetera, et cetera. And then so then what we'll see is if someone walks on over to Distro Watch, then what they're actually going to see going over to Distro Watch is, oh, let's see the top distros. It looks like everything is up. Really? There must have been something goofy on Distro Watch recently because everything is up. That is odd. That is really odd. That's crazy odd. Something's got to be gone goofy. Let's look at the last 7 days. All right. Yeah, something seems to be going goofy. At least I have a few down arrows. So what we see here is, oh, look at that. Manjaro is actually higher than Mint for the last 7 days. That's interesting. That's kind of cool. So, of course, you can see that as you run your various filters, on this, then someone can come down here and say, oh, let's look into all of these different Linux distros on the top, top 10 Linux distros, and Elementary is among these, Fedora is among these. Now, of course, does this mean anything? Not really. Not really, actually. But that being said, of course, Fedora is not a particularly user-friendly distro for a new individual user. TrueOS, I believe, is based on FreeBSD, so it's technically not even Linux as much as FreeBSD. Am I right about that? I think that's correct, but can't remember. Yeah, it's a FreeBSD. And so what happens is you can look into all these distros, and then if you grab, for example, one of these versions that doesn't have the Broadcom adapters, and that's what you have on your computer, you try and install it, you're like, yeah, I tried Linux, but I can't get the wireless to work, so yeah, screw it, I'm going to go back to Windows where it works. And those are the things that hurt the Linux community. And so we need to stop fluffing up distros based upon politics, or based upon our friends, or based upon anything else, and we need to take a more objective approach and say what works. Now, the problem is with the vast amount of hardware configurations, there is no one distro that works perfectly everywhere. I have had 0 problems on Linux Mint on any of my computers, but that's not an absolute, because in reality, a lot of my computers are fairly similar. This one here that's currently running Elementary, this is like the black sheep of the family, because this is an AMD. In fact, I think every other computer in the office, I don't think the pfSense box actually, but every other computer in the office, I believe, runs some breed of Intel processor. So this computer is the only one that has an AMD processor. So that's a factor. Looking at the various screen resolutions, looking at the RAM, the various configurations. Is it a laptop? Is it a desktop? There is a lot more that goes into what is a good Linux distro than that. So I identified a few things. The first thing we want to talk about is who is the audience? Who is the audience for the distro you're targeting? And this is why I like asking this question, who is this distro for? Because you take something like Fedora. The Fedora distro is for a person who really wants nothing to do with closed source software. Fedora is amazing in that their entire philosophy says we are committed to a free and open source desktop environment, and if it's not free and open source, you will probably have some type of conflict. Linux Mint says we are going to create a distro that works for the majority of users and has a comfortable feel. That's why they created Cinnamon, to look and feel so much like Windows. Are we a newbie to Linux but an expert in the rest of the computer world? That's where I was a few years ago. I mean, I could do anything on a Windows computer. Mac? Not so much. Linux? No. But on Windows, oh yeah, I could do anything on Windows you wanted. I mean, I was the geek way back before Windows 98 introduced themes, where you could go into the control panel and set your themes to your desktop. Would you change your icons and your cursors and, and your desktop picture and your sounds and your colors, because you used to be able to actually do all that on Windows. I know for you younger folks, you don't realize that. Yeah, Windows used to have the ability to actually customize it. Well, way back before Windows 98 introduces themes, I actually developed a script using registry hacks to change all of my themes. So I had, before Windows 98 had it released, I had my own custom theme creation in Windows. Yeah, it was rocking. And so I was a computer nerd, but I didn't know much about Linux. That's one person. Another person we might be targeting is people who are just not all that comfortable with computers. It's like my mother. She's got a computer, and oh boy, is it a computer? Oh yeah, every time I go over there, I move out of the way. I got to fix something on this stupid thing. And so you end up with that type of situation. So are we looking at a computer guy who's new to Linux, or are we looking at a pure novice computer person altogether? Are we looking at our parents and grandparents? Are we looking at kids? And another question about audience is there a specific task? So for example, this Raspberry Pi has running on it my RetroPie install. because I'm over here in the evenings and I'm playing a couple of old retro video games to take a load off of the crazy work schedule I've been doing lately. And so, you know, you might have a distro that's targeted to a specific purpose. You know, my Raspberry Pi also runs a Kodi Media Center, so I can watch YouTube videos in the living room on the TV if I want to. You know, all of those types of things as well. And so we have to ask, whom is the audience we are trying to move towards with a Linux distro? And are we looking to target somebody who's a Mac user, or are we looking to target somebody who is a Windows user? So that is it. I guess another question, I'll save that question for later because I have another bullet point specifically to talk directly on that. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and jump back over to the comments. Kitty, would you chill out? The kitty sees the temptation sitting on the desk, and he's like, I'm going for those temptations. He's like, I want the temptations. Here's the kitty. See the peoples? Wave to peoples. Yay, hello peoples. All right, let's see. Did I get my messages from last night's video on Manjaro Cinnamon? I think I read them. I don't remember the content of them. I think it had to do with my errors were probably having to do with the fact I was in a VirtualBox. That's actually something I would like to test, so I might very well test that sometime soon. Okay, is it a good idea to try and upgrade your desktop if possible instead of just throwing it out and buying a new computer? Oh, it is good. Yes, absolutely. I completely concur. Do you concur, Kitty? Do you concur? Yeah, do you? All right, Kitty concurs. Okay, what's really funny, guys, is that before I had a Mobile Core 5 3rd gen on my laptop and just ditched my laptop for Pentium, and it's a Pentium D, and it's awesome. All right, pre-built computers usually do not last very long and are thrown away quickly. Yep, and it depends upon the level of repairability. You know, my computers, I generally keep them around quite a bit longer because I can repair a lot of the features in them. I'm using an AMD FX processor from 2014. Sweet kitty, yep. Kitty, are you sweet? You need to stay off my desk, though. He's allowed on the desk this far. He's not allowed to put his hind feet on the desk. It's 75 degrees here in Phoenix. Would you mind passing some of that my way? Because I'm actually sleeping in the living room these days because the bedroom gets too cold and the furnace is running 24/7. It's so cold that I actually have ice on the inside of my windows. Have to ask, why specifically did I downgrade? Okay, that's for Sudo Linux to answer. Greetings, Analog IDC. Greetings from Montreal. Hello, Thomas Holt. Hello there. And hello, kid. How's it going? KO2610. Greetings. I like desktops for the customizability of many more ports and don't use mobile processors. Can be built too. Easy to manage and not break. Yep. Okay, it's been a pain in the butt. The caps lock delay on Linux. Greetings, Anarita. Makes a good Linux distribution is how much control you have over the operating system. That's a good. Let me write that down. We'll go back and hit on that one a little bit more later. This has been noticed since 2008, and they still haven't fixed it yet. Which caps lock key delay on Linux? I don't know. Mine's pretty quick. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I whapped you in the nose, didn't I? I whapped you in the nose, huh? By the way, you guys in the comment thread, you want to see the spawn of all cuteness? I'm going to show you the spawn of all cuteness. That is this little guy as a kitten. Oh, look at that. No, bad kitty. Here's... He took that opportunity to be like, I'm going on the desk. I'm going for the temptations, man. No temptations for you. You will be paid at the end of your show like usual, kitty. All right. A good distro feels like home. Yes. You can't customize Mac, and this stuff costs a lot. Linux is the way. Yeah, except Elementary OS. That doesn't cost a lot, but you still can't customize it. I think the mobile i5 is still faster than the Pentium D. Not sure, though. Yeah, I don't know. So I got into Linux because I wanted to be able to find more efficient ways to finish homework and not have to deal with the problems of Windows. Like, you just finish your essay, Carbon Programmer, and Windows is like, I'm going to restart now. See ya. Elementary design is very well done, but not functional. I disagree, Anna Rita. I do not think it is well done. It is not nearly as well polished as people think. The biggest challenges I'm seeing in that respect is if you look at how the tabs and stuff work, I cannot see on here which tab is my active tab. So if I actually pull up, and I don't think I have enough room on my camera, but we're going to go ahead and try. Let's see. I think there's that. And let's go with that. All right. So if I can do this, I don't know if I can or not. See enough of this. I don't think you're going to be able to see that. But the challenge I have is this is Chromium, and yeah, you're definitely not going to be able to see it. But if I look up at the top of Chromium, Kitty, get off my desk. If I look at the top of Chromium, this tab is clearly white. The other ones are clearly gray. But if I go into their Epiphany browser, which is apparently the browser they want you to use, they're all gray. I can't tell which one is my active tab. And that's kind of a challenge. I disagree that Elementary is well polished. I think it's lazy. I think it's boring, it's gray, it's lazy. They tried to duplicate a Mac, but a Mac actually does a better job of having contrast to demonstrate what is the active tabs, what are the active components, what are the active things. Let's see, not stable for me, therefore design-wise A+, but function-wise C. See, I give it maybe a B on design and functionality. I give it about the same, actually. Once you get the thing working, it works pretty good. This is the only distro I've had in a long time that I don't get stuttering on the video. Debian, Linux Mint, Ubuntu did it, Solus did it, Manjaro did it. Elementary is the only distro I've run in the last several months that does not stutter on videos. Don't know why, but it doesn't. It could be I'm using the Epiphany browser and not Chromium. That is a distinct possibility. But it is the only browser or the only distro I have seen in a while that doesn't have that. It does appear to be relatively stable. I really wish that the startup system would actually work properly, because every time I start Skype, it adds itself to the startup screen. So even if I add Skype, if I turn on Skype, use it, turn it off, it still adds itself to the auto start program, and Skype starts every single time. It is the most annoying thing you'd ever see in your life, because I do not want things like Skype to auto start. Skype is what I consider a spying program. It spies on you. I would rather prefer me turn it on when I want to use it. But I'm going to cover a lot more on those types of things in another video. Microsoft Word will bother you about after sharing an authentication key and will limit how you do your work. Yep. User. The user is not called user. Is it called usurer? Ooh. Spider Eyes, you'll never get your home taken over with a coffee maker like that. Wait, what? You'll never get your home taken over with a coffee maker like that. See, I'm a minimalist. I don't want a regular standard coffee pot. I want to have a French press because it makes better coffee too. LibreOffice does what I want it to do. Correct. Intel bug affected me. Yeah, I was feeling a little under the weather myself. It must have been my computer bug. Okay. Yes, Chip, look up the Intel issues right now. It's a little scary. I've been on Reddit and stuff. What is the bug? Recently, Intel issue was not the first problem related. In 2017, they were related to Intel microcode and Skylake and Baby Lake processors. My laptop had Intel CPU, the 4th generation. Is that affected? Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I know the one was not for most of mine, but I don't know if my laptop is affected or not. I'll have to look into that. Make things too convoluted, you're going to create many problems. Yes, and Intel is an example of that. Parents mostly use Windows at their work computers. The closest they've gotten to touching Linux is Android. Oh, jeez. Holy moly. Some distros could give some love to the installers. That's probably true. Oh, what installers have I liked the most? There's been some distros I've done that I really wanted to go back and redo the installation process on the video because installation was awesome. Pseudo loves the Nexus. Yes. Manish Kumar, greetings. I missed you earlier. Hello there. Intel is going to ruin its reputation and continues to make products so convoluted, and there are many bugs to be found. It's like, they're kind of like becoming Apple, aren't they? You know, I think my Apple also has a Core i5 computer. Oh, boy. Too many processors to deal with. I didn't check if my Apple has that vulnerability. Been in Gentoo for a while now. It's rock solid. Just like my head. Nice. Windows 10 is also tarnishing its reputation by tracking their users. With 64 gigs of RAM, I love RAM disks. I'm just going to have to scroll through some of these. I'm not even halfway through the comments. We're going to get back to our next topic here. I'm going to say 7:44 minutes. I'm going to get back to our next topic if I don't get through all these comments by then. If anyone is interested, the Manjaro form is back. Good, warm, soft little ball of happy fur. Sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. It's right, kitty. Isaiah's talking about you. Yeah. For me, what makes a good distro is stability and functionality. It has the basics that a user might want, not to be overwhelming and easy to install. Yes, I agree. That's good. Which desktop environment is the best? I'm going to do a top 5 video. When I do my top distros for 2017, I'm going to do it as a 2-part. I'm going to look first at the code packages and then the desktop environments. For me personally, for my work environment, I like the Cinnamon environment. For my media environment, I actually like KDE best. If I had an environment on a tablet or something, I'd probably run GNOME because I think GNOME would be really great for a tablet. I think it's just horrible for a desktop. So it's really a lot of variability. Of course, there's the XFCE, all the other ones. There's so many of them. Mate, gotta give Mate some love. Mate is a great system. For me, what makes a good distro is stability. Okay, I already read that one. KDE is the best desktop environment. KDE or Cinnamon, in my opinion. I agree with Bjorn. Those are probably my top 2 favorite. KDE and Cinnamon. However, Budgie rocks. If you haven't seen Budgie, go take a look at Budgie. GNOME 3 is terrible. GNOME 2 was better. I think a lot of people agree with that. I hate the fact drivers update GUI is linked to the update GUI should be separated, like in Solus, Ubuntu, Mint, and Deepin. Yeah, I agree. I like the fact that I like keeping drivers separate. Another kind of functionality issue on Elementary is it wants to install an update. I don't know what the update is. I don't really care what the update is. I don't really care to update the system right now. But I can't get the stupid thing out of the dock. I can't get it to stop annoying me about an update. It's like, what is this? Apple circa 2010? Like, we have an update. We want to do it. 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 We want to update your system. We want to do it. Leave me alone. At least it's not Windows 10. I have updated, Dave. I am now spying on you even more, Dave. I'm not going to tell you anymore, Dave, because I don't want you going in and turning off the new privacy settings I just introduced, Dave. Elementary OS is a problem with security updates because it takes so long to bring the users, making it less secure. Put your hand behind it. It was focusing on your finger. Oh. Oh, well. Thanks. And hi, Joe. How are you? Okay, the quality of security in Linux systems also makes a good Linux distro. Yes, quality of security. That is something you have to consider. That Linux is more immune to viruses and hackers than Windows. Well, yes and no. There is a lot of security through obscurity, and that's bad security. In that it's just not a big attack vector because not enough people are using it for desktop environments. But the reason it's more secure in general is because the source code is open and always being looked at. And there is an active community of people always searching for security vulnerabilities working in community, which is something you don't get in a closed source system like Mac and Windows. And that's what lends itself to more. So there's kind of 2 major things going to it. BSDs are way more secure than Linux. Probably. BSD is another Unix-based system. My router is based on BSD. pfSense is based on BSD, FreeBSD. Okay. One of the main issues with Linux is a lack of good driver model, which it lacks. I think it's getting better with that, though. But okay, if you've never used BSD system, go for Ghost BSD first. It's the Linux Mint from the Ghost. And it looks like I've hit 7:41, so I'm going to stop my comments right there, and we're going to hit our next topic. The next thing I talked about is I want to talk about packages. What packages are available? This is what kicked Solus off my list initially, but when they introduced Snap by default, then I really liked what they did with the packages because it added a whole ton more things. And so when we start seeing Flatpak and Snap, and I think, does Electron fit in this mix as well? I don't recall. I don't know nearly enough about Electron. But I know Snap and Flatpak allows you to package all the applications with all its dependencies in one simple location. Downside is it takes more space on the disk, and bigger to install. The upside is it allows you to have a lot more compatibility without having to mess with a lot of the core of your system. And so with packages, you have to ask the availability. And I want to look at what are the software packages available and what are the software packages that people want to use. So on the latest Linux Mint 18.3 in the software store, they now have Spotify. They now have Skype. They now have Dropbox. They have all these things that I wouldn't use most of them, and I don't care to use most of those because I just don't use big corporate solutions regarding my data because I just don't trust that they're not going to spy on my data. But the fact of the matter is a lot of people use those and want to use those. And I'd rather it be in Linux and me just not install it than not be in Linux at all. Because it comes down to I'm not going to switch to Linux because Spotify's not there. Or I'm just going to ignore the fact Spotify's in my Linux store. I'd rather have Spotify in the Linux store and welcome more people to the Linux community. And so we have to have available software packages. So I wrote down availability of packages, current modern services, and this is sometimes slow to get onto Linux. What's the last thing? The method of attachment. How well can people interface with these services? This is something that GNOME 3 has done well, and fortunately the new Linux Mint now does it well in Cinnamon and things as the online accounts. Well, I would never go into a Linux system and attach Facebook to my Linux system. But there's a lot of people that love Facebook, want to switch to Linux. I'm interested in reducing the barrier to get there. So if I can install Facebook on my Linux install through my online accounts, great, more power to you. Have fun. I'm glad it's there for you. I won't do it personally, but if we're talking about having good Linux systems, we have to have that type of available stuff. And we need to stop sitting back and saying, well, don't do this, do that instead. Like, wishful thinking. You're already asking somebody to change their entire operating system. We don't want to put extra burden on them on top of all of that. And so with that being said, are there packages available that people want? Are the packages available, relevant to the system, and do they all function? This is a problem Ubuntu has had, is that there are so many things in their repositories. There's abandoned software, there's things that don't work, there's a lot of useless stuff, and we should go through and clean it up. This is what makes a distro like Solus more attractive, where Solus just has stuff related to Solus. And then with the addition of Snap, the problem is what Solus did is they got themselves to the point where they had too few applications, but with the addition of Snap, now they have a whole ton more applications, and that was a good deal. And so we need to have packages that work, packages that are functional, and we need to make sure that all of the modern types of things people are looking for in an operating system are available to them. And then we can slowly teach them about some of the other things as we go along. And so that is one of those things that, that we want to do with that, is just make sure the packages are there. Next, I'm going to point out the need for a good community. The system works. In fact, let me separate that. We're going to talk about works well later. We're going to do good community now. Does this have good community support? This is something Linux has been terrible at for a while. Is a lot of times the community support is not what it should be. A newbie goes onto Linux. In fact, I remember the first and last time I actually posted something on an Ubuntu forum. I had, guess what? A Broadcom system. And I was asking a simple question. I put the thing up there as a simple question. And what did some... boy, I wanted to swear there for a second. What did some moronic idiot do but sit there and start editing and making this more grammatically correct? You should be... It's like, dude, just answer the question I had. So it turned me off from ever interacting with the Linux community in that method again. So if you wonder why I don't submit a lot of bug reports, why I don't do a lot of stuff, that's why. If people want to know what's up with my system, here's the thing about it. Watch my video. If you're doing... if you want to know what I think of elementary OS, I am not about to go over to your forums and start posting on stuff. I'm not about to go over there and start submitting bug reports. I have a very extensive videos talking about the dangers and the challenges and the problems I have with elementary OS. Go watch my video. There's your bug report. And then you can decide for yourself. Am I just making this up? Is this some stupid thing? Or is that the case? So the fact that the Linux community in general is fairly rude people and fairly unfriendly to newbies. Because if we're talking about saying we want to help get more people onto a free and open source system where they control their information, the last thing we need to do is to sit here and tell people, you're just a noob. You go do this, go do that. Figure it out. Tell me where the log is. We don't know where... A new guy doesn't know where that stuff is. No, the thing keeps a log. Windows keeps a log, but do you think you can access it? Not really. And we need to stop being that rude. Now, while I say that, the Linux community has also gone a lot better in that respect as well. So it's not all bad. It has gotten a whole lot better in that respect, in that there are a lot more great communities and there's a lot more great people that are helping with that. Like Joe Collins has helped move so many people onto Linux and is very, very kind and very patient with some of the basics and some of the simple things. That is great. I even see guys like Technobismo and Sudo Linux doing a lot of basic Linuxy stuff that I don't even think of anymore. And that's great. That's the type of stuff we need. Just those simple basics to help the brand new guy jump over here and be slightly more comfortable with what they are doing. Now, part of the good community support is how well can someone find a solution? This is what totally rocks about Ubuntu and why I like running Ubuntu systems. There is so much information out there. I can usually solve any problem that would come to me on Ubuntu. I can probably get solved because the community support is there. As far as I can look it up, I can follow some steps, I can seek it to understand, and I can learn what's going on. That is one of those things that... that I like, is that the community support in the Ubuntu genre is very good in that respect. And so with that, the problem, and one of the criticisms I had for elementary, is this thing is still so new. I think it's still, is it still beta, alpha? I don't know what it is. It's 0.4 is the edition, but they're touting it out as a full system. But the problem is they are changing so much in the code base every time. If you find a solution for elementary, you got a 30% chance it's not going to work, because it's either for the first edition, or it's the second, or it's the third. Some people are kind enough to update their posts to tell you which version it goes for. Other people are not so much. So you could try and solve a problem in elementary by looking stuff up online and come to find that the solution does not actually solve the problem. And so that is one of those challenges, is that we have to help with the community support in that manner, is that we need to not change these distros so much that the online archive stuff stays relevant. That's one of those things we need to do, is we need to keep that stuff staying relevant. All right, let's jump back on over to some comments, if I can figure out where I was. Holy moly. Did I see those ones? Hey, wow. Oh man, yeah, this is going to be one of those videos we will never get through all of these comments, by the way, folks. I'm going to do comments for 5 minutes before I move on to the next. So 7:55 my time, we're going to move on to, we're going to be doing some comments. Okay, remember that one ransomware attack where everyone was using Windows was being affected? Yep. Linux needs a .linux or .driver file model that companies and people can create an open standard driver that works in Linux, BSD, and Android. Zoom in. Whoa. I zoomed. Linux will be the future, maybe. Well, it's Linux is the present. It's just, is it going to be the future on the desktop is the question. Looks a lot like Linux. It's beginning to look a lot like Linux. All right, R9 380 AMG GPU Pro still doesn't work correctly on Linux with R9 380. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I think mine's an R7 AMD graphics card. It works just fine. Not sure which card specifically you're looking at there. Want to use Android on a PC? Use Phoenix OS. Linux is the present and the future. That's right. George, greetings. Did I miss too much? Greetings. I don't know. I am an hour in now, but I'm not sure exactly when you left that initial comment because I have so many comments here. I will never get through these all, and I do apologize. I am going to unfortunately have to skip some of the comments or some of the live chat because I'm getting to the point where I'm just getting so much live chat, which is kind of a good problem to have, I guess, isn't it? Okay, Debian is the worst distro I've tried so far due to proprietary drivers, which is, of course, and boring philosophy. Actually, William, you can install, you can enable the Debian drivers if you just look them up. Actually, that's what I do because my system has a AMD APU in there, and I actually have to enable the proprietary drivers. It's actually pretty easy to do. I can't remember how to do it off the top of my head, but it's a very quick internet search to find it. But yeah, there are still some challenges with it, though. Trending past 7 days on DistroWatch, you'll be shocked. People seriously basing Linux distribution choices off of politics of all things? Yes, it's my thought. Now, by politics, I'm not talking about Republicans and Democrats. By politics, I'm talking about seeking to kiss the butts of the people in influential positions. That's what I'm talking about. The same politics that got me to retire from the university and to stop teaching in the college level is because I could not stand it. I was there to help people. I was not there to get into backdoor deals with people about research grants and what the shape of a laboratory should look like, and I'm not about to kiss somebody's butt for a promotion. I'm not into that crap. I was there to help people. And they demonstrated they cared more about politics than they cared about helping people, and so I left. And so, yeah, that's, I think, what happens is a lot of distros get promoted based upon politics or friends or whatever else. And I think at times we just need to have the courage, not to be rude about things, but to be saying, you know, let's be honest and say, I'm not sure. And here's the thing. When we're honest, things can happen. That's kind of, you know, I was fairly critical on several things of Farron OS when it first came out. And the developer of Farron listened to myself and other people in the community and made a lot of amazingly good changes based on that input. I'm not going to fluff it up because my buddy does it. Okay, I'm not going to fluff it up for any other reason. I'm not going to fluff it up because some guy I want to remain friends with is a development partner in the thing. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to call it as it is. I'm not going to be mean about it, but I'm going to call it as it is because I want there to be integrity in the community, not politics. And that's the unfortunate thing that happens. Oh, I got to get off of these sidetracks. I'm actually going to do another few more minutes of comments. I'm going to go, how about 7:58 is what I'm going to do, just because that was a big sideline. I hit 4 comments. I probably added 8. Okay. Desktop is a Dell product. Speakers and everything else is from the previous. Yeah. Cinema was based on GNOME. Yes. A lot of longtime Linux users refuse to admit a lot of people want a start menu and desktop icons, and they want Firefox, Chrome, VLC, LibreOffice out of the box without going to the command line. Yeah, Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that's the thing is I want there to be a menu that feels comfortable, a menu I can get to quickly that is just as easy to access on a keyboard as it is on a mouse. That's the thing that causes some challenge with GNOME is that you can do everything on the, they really want you to do everything on the keyboard. It's more convoluted to get to in other places. And that's one of those challenges. But so yeah, I do think that we want a lot of this stuff out of the box. And that's, why do I have to install a basic Office application for elementary? I don't know. I guess not everybody wants it, but, you'd think the fact that if I go to any big box store and buy a computer, they want to give me, a significant discount on Office because it's kind of assumed if you're buying a computer, you probably want some type of Office suite with it. Just a thought. Dell refuses to support Linux outside USA. Really? That's interesting. Yep, you could theme Windows 98. Yep, you could even theme XP. XP had some awesome theming. It was Vista where they started killing the theming. They got to the point where you could kind of pick some highlight colors. Now I think you just have, which boring single color would you like splattered all over everything? Greetings, James Miller. How are you? My view, best Windows was Windows 2000 Pro. No, man. Millennium. Windows Millennium. Kind of behave like Windows Millennial. Blue screen to death. Beginner here. When I tried out Elementary, it was awful. Solace I liked. MS-17 I loved. Awesome, Rogue Monkey. Yes. That's the thing is I don't know why Elementary is in the top 10 on Distro Watch. It does not deserve that position. But I think it's there because it got fluffed there. I've had such a poor experience with it, and I think every new person has had such a poor experience with it. Now, the people who install it, go right into the terminal, sudo apt-get update, sudo apt upgrade, they probably won't have a lot of problems. But the people it seems to be moved towards, new people, will have the worst experience with it. And that means that new people are having a bad experience with Linux. And that breaks my heart. Because Linux is awesome. You just got to give it, you got to give it the shot. Yay, Manjaro moves to #1 spot. LOL. Just kidding. I don't pay attention to those numbers. Yep. Okay, I know way more about Linux than Windows. Yep. I hated UI with elementary. It looks like I got to that point where I got to get back to there, huh? Linux. Have some issues with UEFI systems as well. Won't boot up as Windows does. Right. Linux have some issues with UEFI systems as well. Won't boot up Windows. Now, it depends on the Linux distro. Some of them support the UEFI. Some of them do not. I actually intentionally don't do UEFI wherever I can not. A good distro is what serves you better for what you do on your own environment. I believe that it should be good to classify a distro as for new users, intermediate, and advanced. Ooh, that's a good idea, George. I like that idea. All right, let's jump back over to the next topic. Next thing on my list is, does this work well? I don't know, that probably should have been higher on the list, but, it's just kind of adding things as I saw fit. I didn't organize these in any numbers or points or anything else. But it begs this question: does the distro work well? And that may be a relative statement, and it certainly is dependent on the hardware that you have. And so that's why I like saying try out these, because there's different hardware configurations, and surely one of these will work for you. I like Linux Mint Cinnamon. That's my #1 go-to of choice. It works on pretty much everywhere I've ever wanted to try it on, and doesn't give me any issues. Give me a very, very familiar user interface. My laptop has a few issues with it. I have never actually had a random crash on this streaming computer. Never one time have I seen a random crash over here. I've had a couple of them on the other computer, which I've actually done a whole lot more solid work on the other computer, so maybe that makes sense. And then, can you accomplish everything you want to accomplish easily? That's another question for you. And so with that being said, that was one of the challenges I had on elementary. I've had a lot of problems with this thing. Even still, if I go in here and if I go into, for example, the desktop shortcuts, let's see, where are they? Here's my shortcuts. So if I want to come over here Yeah, my elementary just froze. It's done. It's done. Elementary's done. Consistently, if I go in there and I pull up, that's what I did. I pulled up the keyboard shortcut system. This is where you can customize your keyboard shortcuts. It is completely frozen. The entire system. Yeah. Yay for new, yeah. Okay, I can get to the application menu. Let's no. Terminal. She's terminal, folks. She's terminal. No! I want to type in a terminal. It won't let me type in a terminal. Whoa, it's back. Oh, never mind. It's done again. Yeah, I see. This is the problem. This is not user friendly. Yeah, that's how we'll handle that. So, I mean, this system doesn't work well. It just doesn't work well. It is crashing. It is buggy. It is crazy. I think the last time I've had a system that runs this bad was the last beta of Ubuntu, and I'm going to forgive that because it was a beta. So we want a distro that works well. It works well out of the box. It's functional. It does everything we need it to do. All right. Let's see. And part of the works well is it familiar? Now, some users might want a very familiar environment. Some people just want that. If you're coming from Windows, you're already uncomfortable with computers, you're kind of used to how things sort of feel, you want to stick with a Windows type system. So you want to be looking at a Cinnamon, a Mate, an XFCE, something that can be set up like the Windows type environment. If you're coming from a Mac, there might be elementary. GNOME 3 would work. Maybe Kororo might work. Not the best necessarily, but Kororo you'd look for. So ask yourself, do you want, see, look at that. I'm not even running Skype, and it wants to start Skype right now. No, go away. It keeps auto-adding Skype to the startup applications. I have removed it 15 times. I give up. It's fair to say elementary will probably not survive the weekend. Oh, boy. All right. And so you might want something that's similar. If you're a computer kind of advanced guy and you're like, I can feel my way around computers, you might go for something a little bit more unusual. Maybe a Budgie or maybe your regular GNOME 3 or, something like that that's a little bit more out of the box. Maybe OpenBox to get out of the box. Open that box and get out of the box. But you want something, you want to ask yourself, are you looking for something that's similar or are you looking for something that's different? Kind of get the play and the figure out of that. And of course, the support and the stability. This is kind of important. How stable is the system? The reason I don't like Fedora is every time the thing wants to update, it seems to break half of my system. So I just don't run Fedora. And it's funny sometimes to watch Fast Gadget's videos. He's a brilliant guy who knows how to fix it. But it's like, every time there's a major update, you can guarantee there's a video about how to fix the latest thing in Fedora. It's kind of funny. I don't have the time to mess with that, so I don't bother. Although this would be a good place to test that Fedora out on more, because if it decides to go all haywire, no big deal. I just boot into one of the other distros that I run on it on a regular basis. And so you get that kind of stuff. So is it stable? That's why I don't generally recommend Fedora, is I don't find it being stable. And I find the same thing with OpenSUSE. I have a very wonderful OpenSUSE build that I love. I can't update it anymore. Anytime I'm trying to update it, crashes out because it can't download an icon pack somewhere that is in the official repository. I don't know why, don't know where, don't know how. And I don't know enough about OpenSUSE to specifically fix it. But regardless, that's a challenge, is that with those distros, because the rolling release functionality, it seems to break a lot. And we want something that's a little bit more stable. That's another reason I like Linux Mint. It doesn't seem to break on updates. In fact, I've started my computer on 17.3. It's on 18.3, upgraded to all of them. Never had a problem with it. So that's that. All right, let's see if I can get any more comments done. I highly doubt it, but let's see. Kids are the upcoming audience recently. Not sure how we kids got into the Linux recently. Yeah, well, actually, like I said, I'm going computer shopping with my friend tomorrow in high school, and we are getting a computer specifically to put Linux on it. We're gonna put Ubuntu Studio on it, and no, we're not gonna buy it from Pogo or System 76. Not to take away from them, but we don't have $1,500 to spend on a computer. Even their sale prices, I've priced out what he needs. We can get a computer for half the price, wipe it, and install Linux. And so with that being said, yeah, the kids are getting into the community, and that's great. And I think that's kind of the natural reaction, because kids are naturally more curious, and they want to know, is there more to the world than just Windows or Mac? And they see Linux, they go, let me try this out. And it's good, What retro games have you been playing? I recently have been playing Shantae on Game Boy Color. That's one of those topics I actually don't talk about on my streams, believe it or not. Let's see. Have you ever tested or used Deepin? I did a quick look at Deepin. I didn't do a whole lot more with it, though. Elementary OS would be a good fit for Mac OS X people, just not for Windows users. I disagree. They clearly tried to duplicate Mac, but, when you leave out a simple feature like a minimize button, you're alienating a lot of your audience who are going to be like, I'm new to Linux. How do I get the window out of here? There's no minimize button. And they take active steps to keep breaking the tweak tools that the community keeps on coming up and saying, we need tweak tools. Here's tweak tools. They come out with a new edition of Elementary. They go, we're going to kill your tweak tools because we don't want you to use tweak tools. We want you to use the system exactly the way we want it. No. Hi, Kitty. Is the Kitty powered by Linux? Kitty, are you powered by Linux? I am powered by Linux. Yes, I am. You are powered by Linux? All right. The Kitty is powered by Linux. The Kitty is actually powered by Puppy Linux. Believe it or not, I have no idea how that works, but it does. Kitty want a budgie. Probably. Okay, good distro is Solus and Antergos. Deepin. Okay. They also say for Windows users. Yeah, their advertising kind of says pretty much for like everybody. And the thing is, though, is that if you look behind the message, they don't never specifically say who it's targeted to, but it's clearly targeted to new users. It's not targeted to the seasoned people. It's targeted to the new users. Depends, but often upgrading is better than a new box. Let's see. I learn a lot about hardware now. I'm on a desktop user. I can repair almost anything. Sweet. My favorite SNES games is Super Mario World and Yoshi's Island. Okay. Because of Windows, they're making people to be in a closed environment such as Apple does. And it's a corporate decision to have more money in every brand computer, and it will be Windows only. That is, yeah, I agree. I concur with that. I have both of those, and I'm addicted to Kirby's and Yoshi's Island. All right. 32 degrees in Central Florida. That's actually really cold for Florida. All right. I'm still rocking 7-year-old DDR3 stick and 4 to 5-year-old Xenon Haswell CPU. Okay, what makes a good distro is if it can play Portal. So cute. Let me eat this. Kitty, do you want to eat something? The kitty gets temptations at the end of the stream. Yes, he does. Stick around for the end of the stream and the kitty will get temptations. Not right now. Okay, what also makes good Linux distro is how much software there is available for the OS. Yes, I think I talked about that. That's how far behind on the comments I am. I live in a camper in Montana, and I use a heater with windows insulated with blankets. Nice. Greetings, Ben Laird. How is Scotland doing? Ew, iPhone that's not cute at all. Shush. I have no issues when I tested elementary OS, but I know it's not perfect. Not everyone wants to customize the whole system. See, the thing is, though, is that it's not just customizing the system. Out of the box, upgrades don't work. Installs don't work unless you do them through the terminal. And that's a lot to ask a new user who's already in an uncomfortable environment. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of other problems, a lot of other challenges with elementary coming up. But the fact of the matter is, Linux is known for the ability to customize it. Why break customization? You're just making it difficult for the people who want to do that kind of stuff. And the newbie doesn't know how to do this stuff anyway. They're not going to try. Love you to give i3 Window Manager a try sometime. Well, I mean, the reason I don't is because I'm going to need to spend a long time reading through documentation. I don't have that kind of time. That's why I just don't do i3. And, you know, I mean, I've looked at it very solemnly here and there, but it just takes too much time to learn, and I don't have time at this point. Okay, I like Matei's difficult interface, but I like some items in my resource monitor on my computer and stuff. Unknown, my problems related to the huge space taken by Chrome. Okay. So we need more games to support OpenGL 4.5 over DX11 to get the gamers to migrate over. Yeah, we need more gamers in Linux. My review, Matei is the best GUI for newbies. I could get behind that. Using a physical USB keyboard instead of a laptop feels so much nicer and relaxing. Yes, that is actually why I dock all of my computers that I work on in the office. My main Windows computer is actually a laptop, and I have docked it for years. I wouldn't, in fact, it's really hard to use when it's not on a dock. It's kind of funny. Greetings, Technobismo. Or is that Technobismal? Epiphany is so buggy, they tried to copy the Safari browser. Yep. You considered using Wire instead of Skype. My business customers are not on Wire. They are on Skype, so I have to use Skype. The thing is, when you are a business person, you have to use what your clients are using. It's just a reality. I hate Skype, but unfortunately, I got to use it. Linux Lite and MX17 are two of my resident distros. Yes. Discord is great too. I will not use Discord. I was going to give Discord a try. I found some initial problems, and then I found their site to be absolutely far beyond annoying, and then I found their support staff to be completely unprofessional. So I'm done with Discord for at least a while. I'm not even going to give them a shot any longer. I found them so unprofessional. Not interested. You have a video to get Basilisk working under Linux. It lacks that. Get support and no dabs. No, it's on my list of things to look into though. When I figure it out, I'll do a video on it. See more laptops migrating to ARM via NVIDIA in 2018 to 2020, moving away from Intel x64. Probably. Alexander, nice is too much pixels taking space of my monitor. It's kind of hard to explain the issue. Tom uses Skype because of business, as do I. Yep, that's the problem. And I hate Skype, but, you know, it works. It does the job I need it to do, and so that's what I do. And actually, the place I usually use Skype is actually my Mac uses Skype, because Apple has this thing with Microsoft where they will not allow Microsoft to kill it yet. And so I'm still on a wicked old version of Skype that I absolutely love. And it works. But they keep on breaking it everywhere they can get away with breaking it. So. Greetings, Anarita. Let's see. No, you're a developer, therefore need different computers, but having one computer is a blessing. Yes. The problem with one computer is if something does go goofy, you're like, eh. That's actually why one of my laptops is the only reason I have it is that it is a full office replacement. If my Windows 7 computer spontaneously died one morning, I will not lose a beat of work. I won't even move the thing out of the way. I will set the other computer on top of it. I will swap all the USBs from one computer up to the next, and I will keep working on the new computer. That's exactly the way I have it set up, and that's Linux Mint Cinnamon. Good luck with Cinnamon on gaming performance. Very bad. Well, I'm not a gamer, so I don't know. You know, the few games I do play, I don't have a problem. But pick up a Logitech controller and play Super Tux and Super Tux Kart. It's fun. Logitech controller. Logitech controller. There you go. All right. The problem is I just don't play a lot of games. I mean, if I can squeeze in, you know, 2 or 3 hours of video games a day, you know, or you know, a week, that's good. I will say though, my friend, they're not back to school yet because of the high school project in State College. So he came over for lunch today, and co-host and I, we were playing some Black Ops, and then we decided, you know what? Let's just have a slaughterhouse. We switched to really high kill streaks and went into Nuketown on recruits. 75 to what is it? 75 to 6 victory. Before I died a single time, I had attack helicopters, attack dogs, and a sentry gun in the middle of the map. It just wasn't fair. My screen was just 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Double kill, triple kill. Oh, I'm like, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, we were mean. We were mean to the recruits today. It was not nice. If a hacker cannot take control of the computer by installing malware, they can resort to finding my individual IP and using exploits to target my... Okay, well, that looks more serious. If a hacker cannot be able to target my computer by installing malware, can they resort to finding my individual IP and exploits to target my IP address? That would completely depend on your firewall. If you have a good firewall, I wouldn't worry about it. With me, I mean, even a good, you know, commercial router has a really good firewall. So if you have a separate independent router that is not connected to your modem, you're probably safe in that respect. Unless you're doing silly things like opening up ports for the internet, etc., etc. All right, let's see. Unfortunately, Antragos doesn't have a GUI manager. Budgie 11. Let's see. Give him a chance to get to the bottom of the comments. Stop. Yeah. Yeah. Fruitless cause. Okay. One of my friends in high school told me Windows 10 about Windows 10 and its forced updates. Yes, Windows 10 does force the updates. One thing all Linux distros lack with updates is bandwidth limiting options. Yeah, that's true. New attack where people use USB drive and walk away seems scary. What's it called again? I don't know if there's a specific name for that. Hello, the garden, even though the message is retracted. Greetings. Okay, MX17 was based on Antix, and it doesn't have System D. Nice. Okay. Linux is more safe from Windows viruses because it's not Microsoft Windows. However, Charlie Brown, if you're jumping onto several of these distros that are pre-installing Wine, you are just as susceptible to Windows viruses. That is why you never get a distro that pre-installs Wine. If you need Wine, install and configure it yourself. But don't get a distro that has Wine pre-installed unless you absolutely need it. Greetings, LJ. How's Chicago doing? Okay, Solus will have Flatpak in the fourth milestone. Really? They already have Snap. App Image is better than Snap or Flatpak. Yeah, I don't know much about App Image, unfortunately. I should look into that. Packages are, and the way Linux programs are installed is another way to confuse new users. It needs to work on a good uniform method to work on everything. That's true. I mean, you get into the different bases. That's why I don't use Arch or even Manjaro a lot, is because I'm just so used to how Debian works on the commands. Give me a Debian terminal and I'll do great. Give me a terminal from Manjaro and I'm completely lost. I don't even remember how to update the thing without looking it up. So, greetings, Chater. How are you? Remember how to use Nmap on my own IP to look for holes in the computer, and then I close them. Yep. Fortunately, Solus doesn't have much packages yet, especially the proprietary stuff, but they have Snap, and that is a beneficial thing, and that's the thing that helps Solus out a lot. So you're able to install a lot of the programs on Solus that you might need. Really, like on Windows, the OS updates do not update programs. This should be an option on Linux. Well, you can on Linux Mint. You can go in and you can set a package to not update. In fact, I've actually done that in the past where there was a version of Flash, back when you still needed Flash installed to watch some videos and stuff online. There was actually a Flash version that broke the ability to watch videos. And so I actually prevented Flash from updating for a while because of that. There's an Intel hardware bug affects all systems. Security is obsolete. Yes, security is obsolete once you put a computer on the internet. It's cloud and court monitoring and spying. If they can pull out DRM content, you want to have an offline copy. This is why offline solutions and Bandcamp offering MP3 and FLAC is better. Yep. New packages, don't mess with your system. That's supposed to be the goal. Okay. That's what I like about them. Greetings, the Son. Just switch to Linux. Watching carefully. Awesome. Let us know any questions or issues that you have. This community here is very friendly. We'd be glad to help you out if you have questions. Okay, one advantage of something universal packaging is that you can add packages to older versions without a disaster. In Mint, you need to upgrade to the latest version to get some of the packages. I just install PPAs if I need them. Let's see. A year ago, I was complaining to sudo Linux that I wasn't allowed to use Linux on my main PC. Debian is really good for desktops and servers. Ubuntu 16.04 can install the same snaps on 17.10. Okay, there is even a list of companies online that use Debian. Let's see. I like the fact Debian's used on the space station and Debian's used on my desktop computer. Kind of puts my computer in space, doesn't it? All right, let's go ahead and jump over to another item. I'm actually getting very close to the bottom of the comments. That's actually quite shocking, isn't it? Where's me at? All right. Last item I have on my list is control over the OS. Excuse me, I have to log into my system again because I can't shut off the screensaver on elementary. Jeez. I think you can get into it on the configuration editor, but I went to that option and it wasn't there, and I wasn't about to figure it out. Stupid thing even shuts the screen down when I'm watching YouTube videos. Like, thanks, appreciate that. All right, control over the OS. This is something that, I mean, some people want a lot more control, and then you have to ask, what is control over the OS? Are you talking about control over the ability to update, control over the ability to customize, or just control over what's on the system? Those are all different questions, and we need to ask those types of questions as we examine what is a good Linux distro in terms of all of that. And so with all of that, I think that control over the OS is definitely something that we want to have. And that's something, as long as the Linux distro gives me reasonable control, and that's one of the reasons I don't like GNOME, is I can't alter it. I can't customize it without adding a bunch of extensions, and then we have this piecemeal mess, really. All right. So with that being said, let's jump over and we're going to go through, and I literally just typed in what makes a good Linux distro on start page, and I pulled up the first 3 things that I saw, and I didn't even read them yet. So let's look at what these are saying and compare this to the things that we've already said. So from LifeWire, how to choose the best Linux distro for your needs. Like I said, I haven't read any of this. I have no idea what we're going to get into. Linux Mint provides a modern take on what many people have become accustomed to over the years. If you've ever used Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, you will appreciate the panel at the bottom, the menu, a series of quick launch icons, and a system tray. Doesn't matter which desktop environment you end up deciding. Linux Mint provides many. Sadly, it provides a lot fewer now. They're killing my KDE. They are all designed to look and feel the same way. So, of course, Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE, and KDE. Of course, they are killing off KDE, I believe, this year sometime. Debian. So, of course, Debian is kind. Debian is It's really good, very much like the Fedora project, where they're going to focus a whole lot on just the free and open source stuff. You can still install the other items. So I like here that they have level of expertise required. So you'll see here on Mint, low expertise required. Medium for Debian. So that's good. GNOME, KDE, XFCE, LXDE, plus others. Ubuntu is also low. Of course, I think this article is probably a little old because they're still saying Unity here. And they should also mention that Ubuntu has community builds that have a variety of different desktop environments, pretty much everything. Here's Manjaro. They're saying this needs a medium. We have Cinnamon, Enlightenment, XFCE, GNOME, and others. OpenSUSE says low to medium. I would actually put that at medium because I find that there are some issues and things with OpenSUSE, and the settings inside of it can be a little over cumbersome. There's Fedora, also low to medium. I would say medium. Zorin, I would agree with low on that. Elementary, low. No. How about expert, high? No. I'd settle with medium on that. Deepen, low to medium. So let's actually read through a few of these. Let's look at Zorin, for example. Zorin, based on Ubuntu, has been designed to look and feel like other operating systems such as Windows 7 and Mac OS. The user chooses a theme to make it look like one thing or the other. Complete set of desktop applications, Office Suite, graphics application, audio player, video player, etc. Has a lot of good visual effects. So those are some of those things we talked about. It's designed for a person who's used to one operating system or the other. It has a lot of the packages and things people are looking for. It does seem to work well. It is a familiar layout, easy to use. Zorin is pretty stable. I would agree it's pretty stable. And it does give you a lot of control over the OS. You can have all the basic theming stuff, and you have the options to choose the Mac or the Windows type setup. So that's kind of what they have to say. A whole lot of those. There's medium high on that. PC and Linux, Solus. See, they say Solus is medium. I would disagree with that. I think Solus is low. I thought Solus was very good. It's just, you know, I had a couple issues with it, and I'm before I make my final determination on Solus, I want to run it with Budgie because that's really what they designed it for. So I'm actually holding that out until I get that. All right, next, choosing the best distro. Let's see. Best Linux distro. So easy Linux distros: Ubuntu, Manjaro, Linux Mint. Satisfying, Debian, OpenSUSE. Looks like one of them died. And Solus. Challenging, Arch Linux, Slackware, Gentoo. They really didn't have a lot of information there, did they? First rule to remember here is there's no best Linux distro. I concur with that completely. No, seriously, there isn't, but there is a Linux distro for me and a best Linux distro for you. In addition, what you consider to be the best for you will change over time to match your experience level. With that in mind, I agree with that. And that's the thing is if we were to all list the Linux distro that we're using here, what we would actually find is a whole variety of things. You know, we got some Manjaros, we got some Mints. I'm recording this entirely on Linux Mint right now, and I'm, you know, doing full live streaming on HD on, you know, Linux Mint, which is awesome. Of course, I run a variety of operating systems over here. And, you know, of the people watching, I know we have some Mint XFCEs, we have some Manjaros. Chip, are you still there, Chip? And are you running Manjaro Cinnamon or Manjaro something else? And then I think I saw Tech Bismo. I think he's back on Corora. Pseudo Linux, what are you on these days? And everybody else, what are you guys running? Let's know what you guys are running. And let's look at our last one. Best Linux distros of 2017. 8 versions of Linux we recommend. Let's see. Feel the power of the penguin. Yeah, I actually quite hate these sites. We're going to give it a very small chance. Elementary OS. See, this is what I'm talking about. Elementary keeps showing up as best Linux distros. Why? Let's read. I want to read what they have to say about this. If you're after a distro that gets you as far away as possible from the image of a nerdy hacker type bashing away at a terminal interface, Elementary OS is what you need. I completely disagree. You can't get the thing working stably without the terminal. That's been my experience. And trust me, I try and do everything through the GUI. It's probably the most attractive distro around. I think it looks like an ugly train wreck. It looks like Mac woke up on a bad day. Most attractive distro around. Similar style Mac OS. Like, Mac used to have a nice appeal to it. That died about 5 years ago. Operating system superb desktop environment is known as Pantheon. It's based on GNOME. I get more system crashes with it than any other distro. I don't find it quite superb, and I have tried it on a variety of different hardware. Latest version of Elementary is called Loki, which is the Norse god of lightning. I don't know, whatever. Which, as well as being a bit prettier and neater than its predecessor, has its own application installer called App Center. It's a delightfully simple way to install apps outside the terminal. No, it's not. It crashes nearly every time I launch the stupid thing. It crashes constantly. In fact, it perpetually crashed until I found the terminal and ran my upgrades. Now it seems a little more stable, but I still have a lot of problems with it. Let's try and install a couple packages, shall we? Let's go to Office. Let's see. Okay, I haven't actually installed Impress. Let's go ahead and install Impress. Let's go ahead and install Draw. We're going to click on Draw. See, now it seems to be frozen. I managed to freeze Elementary a second time on my live stream. This is why I'm not live streaming with it. Oh, okay, it seems to be working now. It's back. It was freezing for a moment. It seems to be back. Well, let's install the video application. All right, loading, downloading, running. Let's look at some games. I'm just installing a bunch of stuff. See, right now I just clicked on 3 or 4 different things. There is an error. Timeout reached. I've got this error a lot. I'm not sure what the error is. Can I try and do that again? See, it's like if you try and install a few things simultaneously, it's just kind of in waiting mode now. We're going to see if anything shows up there. Elementary OS does, however, come bundled with the Epiphany browser, Geary email client, and a few basic tools app. You may need to add some programs, but it's easy to do using the integrated App Center, which contains paid programs designed specifically for the OS, such as Quilter for budding writers or Spice Up for composing presentations. The inconvenience of buying and downloading additional apps is balanced by Elementary OS's elegance. I don't find this to be an elegant distro. And it's like, people who think that, like, Mac is the elegant distro. I became all white and washed out somehow. Not sure how I became all washed out. My camera somehow decided that I wanted to be all whitewashed or something. I don't know. But regardless, the challenge is... in that is that people look at Mac and go, Mac is beautiful. So let's duplicate this and we'll have a beautiful full system. And I don't find Mac particularly beautiful. I don't find it particularly beautiful at all. I'm going to turn on Smurf mode for a second. Reset my lighting, see if that fixes the camera. I think it's just a problem with the camera. I don't know. Something's goofy on the camera and it's not auto-correcting my light correctly. I'm getting all washed out now. That's exciting. Let's see if we can agree with the next one. Linux Mint. Obviously, I do agree with this one on the choice. Great default distro for new users. Comes with a lot of software you need switching from a Mac or Windows, such as LibreOffice, Flavor Productivity Suite of Linux users. Also has better support for proprietary media. Yeah, that's the thing. It has a lot of that. KDE version is going away, unfortunately. They do tell us that. Arch Linux. Definitely not for newbies, but I will definitely agree with the inclusion of this on the best Linux distros. Ubuntu. No complaints there. Tails. Ooh, I like Tails. Tails is fun. CentOS 7. This is one actually, I mean, I use CentOS enough as servers. I don't mess with it in anything else. All right. Ubuntu Studio for studio work. That's good. And OpenSUSE. So those are kind of those. That's good. All right, let's go back to our full screen. See, look at that. I became all washed out all of a sudden. Not sure how that happened. I'm all washed up. Something went goofy with the autofocus on the camera, it looks like. Huh. No. Wow. I cannot even correct it in the filtering. Yeah, something's gone goofy with my camera apparently. I am becoming all washed out, man. If I do that, see if that corrects it or not. I don't know. I'm all washed out apparently. It's all good. Let's check in on some comments. Maybe I'll get myself corrected here. Huh. Wow. Oh boy. Software packages are compatible with all Linux distros. Let's see. Uses Debian on their servers. Yep. That's good. I found YouTubers more helpful than forums. Yep. Probably. Want a t-shirt that says Gentoo is king on the front and your distro sucks on the back. Sounds fun. All right. Red Hat's biggest customer is the United States government. Let's talk about, I guess, Solus now. I don't know. Linux Mint Cinnamon is always my favorite distro, though I'm switching to Aurora XFCE in a bit. Gentoo is for advantages, not because it's a meme and people can install it. Okay. If only the Arch forums were as friendly and useful as their wiki, they could have the potential to be the best Linux community. By school, I saw a Red Hat sign. Sweet. But the Antergos and Arch Labs community were better than the main pure Arch. Linux community, I had an idiot suggest I learn programming to fix issues with SM Player and pay someone to add the feature. Yeesh. I will never reach the bottom of the comments. Where did the bottom of my comments go? I thought I was getting close to the bottom. And then YouTube did that thing where it jumped my comments around. And I have no idea where I was. Yeah, I have no idea where I was. How do you check for open ports in your computers? I simply just go do an internet search for open port checker and then just go from there. Just kind of use that. And then basically you can ping in, it'll default to your own IP address and you can do a wide variety of port checking. And that's actually usually what I do. I'm actually going to pull the camera and reinsert it and see if that actually brings me back or not. Hey, guess what? That actually fixed my camera. Woohoo, I'm back. Oh, that was driving me crazy. Thing to keep in mind is try not to replace Windows with Linux in most cases. That's right. Use them together, Mr. Applewine. Absolutely. Anyone know why full screen is freezing my computer? I'm using Ubuntu 16.04. No, I don't. Is it like a total freeze or something else? Windows 10 will sometimes disobey the host file. Yes, it will. And that is a challenge I find with Windows 10, is it will disobey the host file. With that, it's kind of like, what's going on, Windows? I intentionally wanted to not run those for a reason. Rip KDE, yeah, I'm so sad. Joshua Smith, greetings. Looks Intel screwed the pooch on the kernel flaws. Yep. M. Lemak hates KDE. All right. Use your astrological sign when using a distro. Elementary OS. You need to be God to use it. I don't know if you don't even know if you need to be God to use it, but you need to know how to fix problems. That's for sure. Go on Distro Watch, click random distribution. That would be fun. I tried elementary, nearly drove me nuts, went to Linux, Mint, Mate, and it works great. Yep. Thirsty Fox, greetings. XFCE is the only DE. Zorn 12 is GNOME, so it sucks. At least it's GNOME that works a little better, but yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of Zorn, mostly for that reason. For Windows, if there's a major bug, you have to wait until Microsoft patches it. For Linux, they patch it much quicker. You can patch it yourself if you are smarter, have enough experience. Yep. As much as I hate Windows, they are better at patching issues than in the past. Do yourself a favor and just leave it alone. Too many other good distros out there. Yeah, Kobayashi. This computer, though, behind me is actually, this computer intentionally distro hops. So I get an experience on a variety of different computers. Because I want to be informed when I'm doing an actual full-on review. I do a lot of quick looks where I just boot it up and look at what it looks like out of the box. But I also do some full-fledged reviews and recommendations, and I like running it for a while before I make those recommendations. That's why I'm using it. I think it's installed stuff. That's good. We have a Linux Mint Mate. We have a Linux Lite. Linux allows you to process big data and solve more complex problems. Yep, KDE Neon. There you go. Mint XFCE and Lite. Cinnamon has lag regardless of hardware, and I'm really sensitive to it. We have an Ubuntu Mate 1710. Good. I run Fedora Game and XFCE, Manjaro XFCE, and Linux Mint XFCE. Nice. Mate and Cinnamon here. Let's see Tom rant on elementary OS. Rant, rant, rant. That'll come later. I'm just going to scan through these because I've not eaten yet today and it's almost 9. So I'm going to scan through these and wrap up in the next few minutes here. Why is monthly MX download older than original release? That is bad editing. Why is monthly MX download? Okay, let's see. Crash elementary OS. Is social media blocked by the establishment on certain internet connection? Linux has the solution. See, I intentionally block social media on most of my network. Maybe the problem of elementary is memory management. That's possible. I hate how elementary OS tries to get you to pay without a free download button. Yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't know you can put 0 in the other amount and hit the download to try it out. But yeah, that is, I mean, a lot of people do have a problem with that. Greetings, Matthew Keller. How are you? I don't think that elementary is elegant and beautiful style. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It does not look good. In fact, it looks like a cheap Mac. It looks like a Chinese knockoff product of some whatever. Where it has some, like iHome. Look at the iHome line of stuff. They try to kind of duplicate what Mac does and ends up just being cheap knockoff. I mean, that's what it reminds me of. Because in Mac, at least I can tell which is the active frame. I can tell what is the active tab. And I don't have quite as many crashes as I have. Hey, Pizza 11 Nerd. Are you allowed to be on here, Pizza 11 Nerd? But greetings, sir. How are you? Well, I am too white and nerdy myself. I am white and nerdy. Absolutely. User interface choices they made just didn't make sense to me, so I bailed on it. Yeah, that's the thing. Looks like everyone loves your Wednesday streams. Yeah, this is a popular one, and I'm always open to ideas on this as well. Oh man, let's see. Have you got elementary controlling your lighting? I think I do. I think I do indeed. Okay. If you want that advanced, you can also try Gen 2 Red Core and calculate where based on Gen 2. The cat is back. Oh. Oh! Push button too many times. The cat is back. Kitty, you're back. Tom's spending way too much time indoors. He's pale as the snow outside. Yep. Greetings, Bad Wolf. I think I saw you up there, but I lost my place in the comments again. Holy comments, Batman. There it is. Greetings, Tech Dot. How are you, sir? Got ungrounded? For what? Oh, Pseudo Linux says got grounded for what? I don't know. Okay. Being complete and ready out of the box. There you go. That's something we need. Need recommendation for distro for a Surface Pro 2. I don't know. I have a Surface Pro 1 I've been thinking about wanting to do some Linuxy stuff on, but for now I'm just going to keep it on Windows 8 just because it works. I don't use it for anything more than writing. Let's see. You might try something that has good touch screeniness and modernness, so shoot, maybe try Budgie or something with GNOME 3. I don't know. Just a thought, but I don't know. I don't know much more about your experience level or anything else, though. Test out Arch Labs someday. I thought I did a video of Arch Labs. Maybe maybe it was close. I don't know. Maybe eventually. Guess you mean he is a Christian, Gardner. I am a Christian. Yes, you can check out my Christian channel, actually, rwalkinchrist.com. Yesterday I did an amazing lesson on the fall of mankind with some great philosophy on the rational and the mechanical view of man. Awesome. You should check that out if you haven't already. It's being minimal on what software is installed and focus preferably on your target market, software-wise, wherever possible, basically eliminating the fluff. Down the rabbit hole. Kitty is tired. Yes. Any thoughts on a good RPM-based distro? I don't use a lot of RPM-based distros, so no, unfortunately. Flatpak versus Snap. I need to do a video on that. I need to research Flatpak better, though. Could be a graphics. No, it's a camera issue. My cameras occasionally do that. Try Fedora, but if you're new, try Corora. I will probably do Corora on here. I don't want to do Fedora because I know it's a pain to set up and I don't want to go through that. Ubuntu is still destroying Lenovo BIOS laptops. That's scary. It's deep and safe. I don't know. I think it's safe. It's an open source application, so why not? Nothing appears random when you've heard of everything. Recommendation for Linux laptop under 500 US toy money, Peppermint OS. That would be my recommendation. I use Peppermint on my Lenovo S21 netbook computer, and it behaves just as well as any of my other computers in the office because that operating system runs on like 250 megabytes of RAM. It's awesome. Tom should try Deepin OS just to see him suffering. I actually have a video on Deepin OS. I had a fault in my PSU. I needed to replace it. Yes, it's working my tail off. I hear you, Tom. Not alone. I had a fault in my PSU, too. They let me graduate. Oh. Hey, I had lunch today, though, Anna Rita. I mean, I did actually have lunch today. I have eaten once today. I usually only eat one time a day, but I made some homemade marinara last night, so I'm going to smother a chicken patty in it and make myself some excellent, like a chicken parmesan sandwich or something. I think that's what I'm going to do. Greetings, Daniel Turbs. How are you? I am well, Matthew. Agree, it's worse than Unix Mac. Joshua Smith. Greetings, Joshua Smith. I just missed your comment. There it is. Okay, too bad. My i5 86K comes in the mail Friday. It's going right back to Amazon. I'm not paying a premium 30% for it in performance due to Intel's kernel issue. Yep. Yeah, that's probably good. And tell Amazon, you know, I'm not interested in paying all this extra money for a slower computer. Maybe that's why my 10-year-old or what is it, 8-year-old now computer running Windows 7 is just as fast as any of the other computers in the office? I don't know. Gonna switch to Firefox as my dedicated browser, only find it does not work with my eBay store. The fields were not recognized and left blank. Huh. Try going to WaterFox, Joe, because you can pick older versions of WaterFox. So try an older version of WaterFox. It might be something with the new builds. Try like WaterFox based on 55. Or Firefox 55 if you can find it. Take a video about 5 new user, 5 intermediate user, and 5 advanced user distro as an honorable mention to make those difference between. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, George. I should do that. I might. Many popular distros have non-matching MD5s. Don't know what's up with that. Huh. That's interesting. Any love for Ubuntu 17.10? Not right now. It seems to be hard to find. Definitely don't put it on a Lenovo. Or tried the hell that is on OS X on a PC? No, I've never tried a Hackintosh. I think OS X is bad enough on its own hardware. Why would I ever want to install it on hardware that's not its own? Greetings, Patrick Emery. Is there a good way to use a SIM card on Linux for pfSense? I'm guessing you're like developing like a mobile. Well, I don't know exactly what you're asking, Isaiah. A SIM card would be needed for some type of mobile modem. pfSense is set up more of a router, and I'm not sure if they have a modem router combination ability on pfSense. I have no idea. My pfSense is set up specifically as a router, and it is connected with a separate cable through my modem. My thoughts on Bootstrap Studio for web development on Linux. I've not seen Bootstrap Studio, so I'd have to look into it. Kobayashi. Being as I'm a web designer, I think I'm going to look into it sooner rather than later. Is it related to Bootstrap framework? If it is, I would be definitely interested because I do most of my work in Bootstrap. I need a stable OS. Or are you thinking about Ubuntu Studio? Or are you thinking Ubuntu Studio? Or I don't know what Bootstrap Studio is. I don't know. Okay, I need a stable OS for everyday use as an audio-video production. Ubuntu Studio failed me big time. If Ubuntu Studio failed you, I'd kind of want to know why it would fail you. Like, what were the issues? But if that fails... If that fails and it's like a core package issue, I'd probably try it on Manjaro to get away from the Ubuntu family. But if it's just something with Ubuntu Studio itself specifically, I don't know. I'd have to see more about what you're doing. Is the cat running open source software? Yes. It is running Puppy Linux. That's about Bootstrap Studio because it looks like it's really easy to build website apps for mobile devices as well as desktop. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. Fedora has a spin named Fedora Lab. Under the spin is a Fedora design suite and GNOME. It is related to Bootstrap Framework. I will have to look into it. I have reached the bottom of the comments, and I apologize if I missed your comments partway through. And that also means it is time to make the kitty go crazy. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Watch how fast this kitty moves. Whoa, yeah. Come on up. Come on. Come on up. Come on. You can do it. Yeah. Ooh, smell that? It's good? Yeah, it tastes good? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. They're like KFC. Their finger looking good. Yeah, is that good? Try this one too. All right, want to say bye-byes to peoples? Bye-byes, peoples. I hope you enjoy switching to Linux. All right, let's see. Use a SIM card battery pack for a portable router with pfSense. I don't trust public Wi-Fi. Well, pfSense is more of a router. What I do so I don't mess with public Wi-Fi is I just bridge internet on my smartphone. The other thing you could do is attach a VPN back to your home system. But yeah, there are ways to do that. Like I'm not sure if you'd use pfSense specifically, but you just need some way to produce a hotspot. What you should look into is how to create a portable, I'd probably look into some type of build, just do an internet search for some type of build with either a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino board or something like that, utilizing a SIM card so you can basically get carry with you a mobile hotspot. Basically your own homemade mobile hotspot is what you'd look for. That's what I'd say. Kitty exploit is decreasing the cat's performance. Yes, it is. Okay, so it was very unstable. Ooh. Just try maybe some other things, like try peppermint on there, see if that would work. Without having more detail, I'm not sure I could help that out. I don't know. Fedora's more stable with cutting edge arch pack. My cat loves those treats. Yep. Tom, eat one. No. I'm not that hungry yet. Yay, you're live. Give me a shout out, please. Brent Ford, here is your shout out, sir. Unfortunately, I'm just about to end the stream, though, buddy. Come on back for the news on Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll be doing live news. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern on the Christian channel, I will be live streaming some form of Christian topic yet to be determined. But you can check me out over there 9 o'clock tomorrow, and the channel is Our Walk in Christ on YouTube. Just look that up. You'll find me. And it's also linked to my Switch to Linux channel, too. You can find it down there. Let's see. Cat sped like my kernel. Yep. Happy cat. Good night. Greetings to CJ and the other. I don't remember his name. Tell Tim to send his from the crazy metalhead in Mexico. I will do that. It's not a cat. It's a pocket lion. Yes, it is. Try water cooling your cat. It will certainly run faster. Yes, it does. The cat runs. And it not only does it run faster, it makes weird squealing noises when you water cool it. All right. Yes, you did miss it, Lamer Linux. I am just popping off now. Lamer Linux, tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern. This exact time tomorrow, Lamer Linux, I'll be on live streaming on the Christian channel. Friday, this same time Friday, I will be live streaming on this channel again on the news. But I want to block tracking and ads and built-in firewall. Okay. Why would you use Peppermint rather than Ubuntu? I actually have had long-term stability issues with Ubuntu, but Peppermint is always awesome for me. All right, folks. I'm going to go eat now, I think, and relax a little bit, and then come back and hit the work for another several hours yet tonight. So we will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Once again, if you'd like to help support what we are doing, you can check out switchtolinux.com/support. I have Amazon links there and down below. If you want to shop on anything on Amazon, use that link. That'll help support me. That'd be great. Also, there's PayPal and there is Patreon. And I am very, 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 very slowly working on my own system to replace Patreon. You can check those options out there as well. So thanks a lot, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.